Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or if you are new here, welcome. My name is Ella. So I recently made a video all about Ostara and how you can celebrate it. However, that was quite a compact video. So I actually asked you guys in that video if you would like a more in-depth version of Ostara or in general about the Sabbats. And I actually received quite a lot of positive feedback. I have actually added some links in the description box, which are the sources as well as some further reading material in case you would like to just, read up on it a little bit more yourself, or maybe even print some of the material for your Book of Shadows. So yeah, here we go. Ostara is celebrated in Wicca and is one of the lesser Sabbats. In case you need a recap, we have the higher Sabbats and the lesser Sabbats. The higher Sabbats are the ones that are more prominent, let's say, in Wicca and are Samhain, which is the new year essentially, Imbolc, Beltane, and Lammas, or Lunasat. And I apologize if I'm pronouncing that a little bit funny, that's just how I've always said it. While the lesser ones are Yule, Ostara, Litha, and Mabon. Ostara, as a Wiccan celebration, is rooted, as most of Wicca, in ancient European paganism or animism. So if you are curious more about the basics of Wicca, I have a video and I will link the video up here or there, I'm not quite sure yet, and of course in the description box as well, so go check that out if you're curious about general basics of Wicca. Ostara is celebrated between the 19th and 22nd of March here in the Northern Hemisphere, and on the 19th to 22nd September in the Southern Hemisphere. And they kind of depend on the year, as they kind of follow the sun and the seasonal calendar. So the dates are not always the same. However, on that note, you are of course welcome to celebrate Ostara within those dates. You don't have to exactly celebrate it on that specific day. That goes for all Sabbats. Some easy keywords for this video are rebirth, fertility, dawn, and balance. You will hear those kind of terms all around the video, so if you would like to have these kind of key terms, for example in your Book of Shadows once again, just as an easy reminder for Ostara. So on Ostara, night and day are the same length, but light is taking over now. So where we previously have been in the darker time of the year, now we are heading towards the lighter time of the year. Light defeats the dark. So Ostara is marked by the birth of all nature. So we have the birth of the flowers. Flowers are returning and blossoming again. Animals are returning and also giving birth a lot. So springtime, we have a lot of birth. We have a lot of fertility. So let's go deeper into the history of Ostara. Ostara, or Eostre, and I have no idea how to pronounce that. I am half German. However, it's not a very easy flowing word even for a German. Is a Germanic or Anglo-Saxon goddess, and she's the goddess of spring, dawn, fertility, rebirth, resurrection, and she's also associated with the maiden stage of the threefold goddess or the triple goddess. Ostara is spring. So she is the goddess of spring, but she also is the embodiment of spring. So she's the fresh wind, she's, the blossoming flowers, she's the animals coming back, she's the melting of the snow, and she's the first sun rays, that we feel during springtime. She reawakens the earth, or in other words, she is Mother Nature waking up. These themes are also very in line with Wicca and the belief in Mother Nature, especially if we look at Mother Nature as the threefold goddess or the triple goddess, where we have the maiden stage, the mother stage, and the crone stage. That really applies to Mother Nature as well, especially with the Wheel of the Year. So the goddess Ostara is supposedly old enough to be fertile, but not quite to be a mother yet. So in Wiccan mythology, the goddess is now in her maiden stage, or fertile stage. She is young and she's beautiful, and the god is also now coming of age, and soon they will be mating. Now the mating is actually happening later, and that is what we are celebrating during Beltane. She was first ever really mentioned in a historic text by Bede the monk, where he kind of described how pagans would celebrate Ostara and spring. They would honor the goddess with eggs, with grain, and they would celebrate this seasonal change. And later inscriptions were also found all over Germany, and in general you can see kind of themes all around Europe with goddess Ostara being kind of mentioned or recognizable. It is also thought that the goddess Ostara could be another version or could be somehow linked to the Greek goddess Eos, which is also the goddess of dawn and the east. So Ostara or Eostre, or the goddess of Eos in Greek mythology, that name has that Eastern kind of resemblance in it. So we definitely have that Eastern dawn kind of theme all over her name, all over in her mythology, and we continue to say that throughout of her mythological history or mythological story. She also has some similarities to the Norse goddess Freya, and some believe it is the same goddess, and some say there's absolutely no similarities in the sense that they're not linked, they're not the same goddess, but we can definitely see some similar themes going on here. We do, however, often see different deities in different cultures that are very, very similar to one another. That could be due to migration, that could just be due to a similar thought process when it comes to the seasons. But back to Ostara. Her symbols are the hare and eggs, or the rabbit and eggs. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. The hare, or the rabbit, is linked to the moon because they believed back in the day that the rabbit would die and reawaken every day like the moon. And to this day, Christians actually determine when Easter is according to the moon. So the Christian Easter is not actually on the same day every single year, as you might assume with something such as important as a resurrection day or maybe a birthday. Instead, it is always celebrated on the first Sunday after the first full moon, after the vernal equinox, which is spring equinox. We also to this day see the rabbits and eggs as a symbol for Easter, even though they have nothing to do with Christianity. Instead, they have survived from pagan European days. So the rabbit, of course, is a symbol for fertility, for jumping into life, essentially. They are often seen coming out of their little earthy homes during spring, and they are often connected to birth. And we often see their babies jumping around in the forest, in the wild. You might see bunnies jumping around a lot more frequently during springtime. And of course, rabbits are very fertile animals. Now, eggs as a symbol, I'm not sure if I really have to go much into depth into this, but of course eggs are also associated with fertility. They are eggs after all. So, what about the connection to Christian Easter? We know that paganism followed the cycle of the sun and the moon and the seasons. That is often how they determined when to have their celebrations, and a lot of their celebrations evolved around this cycling of the sun. That is, after all, how they would track the year. When Christianity started to rise in numbers, one of the ways to convert pagans into Christians was to make that switch as easy as possible. That also involved adapting the days for the celebrations that the pagans already had in existence and making them Christian. So the dates and the main themes were often kept the same. That was just one of the ways to ensure that the conversion to Christianity was a little bit smoother than what it might have been. In fact, most of the Christian holidays are actually pagan, as even scholars have noted that Jesus most likely was not born in December, and therefore the festival of Yule is, as a matter of fact, very, very pagan, and we see the same theme of birth giving to a god-like child in many different countries and many different parts of the world. Always around December, or always around winter solstice. So, to summarize, Ostara is the goddess of spring. She is spring, she's the embodiment of spring, honored in many parts of the world, with the most connection to Germanic beliefs. She has inspired Easter with her symbolism and her magic. If you are interested in how to celebrate Easter, or Ostara, then I do have a video that I will be linking once again in the description box or up here somewhere. I hope this was helpful and somewhat informative. Let me know if you like this style of video and if you would like to see more videos all about the Sabbats and a more in-depth kind of version of these Sabbats. I would really, really gladly do these type of videos. I'm not quite sure how the length is of this video, but shouldn't be too long, so that information is still relatively compact. If you did like this video, please don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments how you plan to celebrate Ostara, or if you are watching this at a later date, then let me know how you celebrated Ostara. I also have a witchcrafty store with crystals and handmade prayer beads and jewelry, so if you would like to check that out, the link will be in the description box as well. A little self promo right here. So thank you so much for watching. Until next time, blessed be.